fingers trace down your spine.
The sounds you make are divine.
I'll make you scream just like a girl. Ooh.
I'm here now. You old news. Got a couple Porsche trucks, couple old schools.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Marcellus, and I'm from Detroit. And today, I'll be bringing you my review and first impressions of Gintama. Yeah, that was my best Marcellus impression, but that was probably pretty bad. I'm gonna go take this shit off right now. I'll be right back. Gintama is a series I would accurately describe as the jack of all trades of shonen. Now, by this I mean that the series of Gintama has literally everything that you can possibly hope to gain from a shonen series, genre-wise, such as it is an action, adventure, romance, very emotional scenes, great battles, science fiction. I mean, it has the works. I say this like honestly, it has everything you could possibly hope for, genre-wise. Now, the story is basically centered in Edo, Japan, and what has happened in Edo, Japan prior to the story of Gintama taking place is a race of aliens called the Amanto have taken over. They've conquered Japan, and the war was basically samurai versus Amanto. Now, in the end, the Amanto obviously came out on top and were able to conquer Japan. So there is a ban on swords that is passed all through Japan. It is illegal to carry swords. Now, this plays a crucial role in the story of Gintama, because the main character carries around a sword. It's very much similar in that aspect to Rurouni Kenshin, and I believe it drew from Rurouni Kenshin on this. So these three main characters, Gintoki Sakata, Shinpachi, and Kagura, established their own freelancer sort of shop. And what they do, they basically do odd jobs for anyone who asks, no matter how dangerous, no matter what the cost. As long as they're being paid their fair share, they will do the job. Sometimes even when they're not paid their fair share, they'll do the job, which usually ends up in them not being able to afford their rent, but they still live where they do. It's hilarious. Gintama, overall, the main plot, I believe, so from what I've seen, the main plot is a very, very minor factor, which may be a turnoff to some people, because the main plot, some people watch solely because they enjoy the plot of Gintama. Of whatever anime they're watching. And Gintama, I would have to say, does lack the main plot element. It's very episodic. I say this like, it basically every episode you are confronted with a new plot, a new subplot, I should say. And I mean, that turns some people off. It initially turned me off from the series, but the redeeming factor is that this show is absolutely hilarious. The point of the show is it's supposed to be episodic and hilarious. At the point where I'm at episode 30 of the series, so hey, who knows? I've been told, however, I can't vouch for this myself, but I've been told that it gets to arcs that get extremely intense, in depth, and overall extremely enjoyable no matter what you're a fan of. Battle, etc, etc, etc. I mean, the subplots they pretty much pack every element into every subplot, but to get into the arcs, I've heard the arcs are absolutely amazing and well done. The quality is fantastic. So I will be doing sort of checkups on the series, if you will, like second impressions, third impressions, just to tell you how it's advanced up to the point where I have personally watched. But so far, it's been absolutely hilarious. The characters in Gintama, absolutely unique. Absolutely unique. I mean, Gintoki Sakata is comparable to Rurouni Kenshin only in the fact that before the series took place, he went through very, very hard times, and now he's trying to live out his life fairly normally. But other than that, totally different. Gintoki Sakata has to win the award for one of the funniest shonen characters in general I've seen. He's hilarious. The voice actor for Gintoki, also hilarious. He's a very unique character in that aspect. He's very skilled at swordsmanship. He's gone through hard times in the past, but other than that, his character is totally unique and just spectacularly hilarious. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you don't believe me, just look up on YouTube. Just look up Gintama funny moments, and you will be rolling for like hours on it. Now for the character of Shinpachi. Shinpachi is a very... I'll just go ahead and say he's a pussy. From what I've seen so far, he's the more rational one in the group. He uses his brain more, but in that sense, he's not the most courageous, let's say. And he's a samurai in training. He's basically following Gintoki in hopes that some of Gintoki's greatness will rub off on him. That sort of thing. Obviously not exactly like that, but he does admire Gintoki, and that's why he's choosing to be a sort of companion. But in this sense, I don't enjoy Shinpachi's character itself, but how he's incorporated into the character of Gintoki and Kagura, which I'm going to get to in a second, is absolutely hilarious. He's just one big walking joke. Both Kagura and Gintoki are kind of like the fearless types who are not afraid to get down and dirty and just fight to the death. And he's there just like, holy shit. He's sort of like the Usopp of the group if you're a fan of One Piece, which is just, I mean, you've seen some of that humor. It's just absolutely hilarious. Kagura. Do not compare Kagura to the typical female shonen protagonist. She's not useless, she's not a damsel in distress, and she ain't no pussy, okay? Kagura is hilarious, and I can't stress this enough. This show in general will have you rolling. Kagura is very, very tough, and that's probably the defining her defining aspect. She looks like a human. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but she comes from a race of alien. But yeah, she has superhuman strength. She is pretty much fearless. She's one of those very courageous characters, much like Gintoki. Comparing her to any female shonen protagonist you've ever seen would be an insult to her character, and honestly, she has to be one of my favorite females in all of anime, because I've seen recurring in a lot of anime. Females are underwhelming, but Kagura, she is not at all underwhelming. Now for the downsides of Gintama. Well, there are pretty much two downsides that I've kind of already stressed a few times, but I need to just bring them to the light really fast. One is the episodic nature. Again, if you're watching for one huge overarching plot, this show will initially turn you off, as it turned me off after I watched the first 4 episodes. But I did get to the 30th episode yesterday, and I have to say, it hasn't gone really too much with expanding the plot, but the subplots, each episode, are absolutely hilarious. And I've heard again of the arcs. There are going to be arcs in the future which get very in-depth and very serious, and let's hope that those do bring this episodic nature and lack of overarching plot down a notch. The other kind of downside, both of these downsides I have to say are situational. You might like what's a downside for me might be something that's great for you, but the other one is the comedy. Now, while it will have you rolling and while you will enjoy the comedy and be laughing a lot of the time, and I cannot say that I didn't enjoy myself, I absolutely enjoyed myself. But one downside I would say is the continual assaulting. It assaults the viewer with comedy in a way where if you're looking for a more serious series in terms of what the content of each episode being serious to a certain extent, this show might not be for you. Gintama, even in serious parts, does have a comedic air. It does show gore at parts. It shows blood, of course, a lot of blood, not a lot, but blood and gore to a certain extent. But I mean, the comedy in each episode can do one of two things for you. It can downplay all that and make it seem like one big joke to you, or it can just be another part of the experience that will make you enjoy the series even more. For me, it's kind of a mix between the two. But again, I'm gonna get back to you guys with a later later impression on how I think the Gintama series is progressing the more I go through it. That's about it for the review. Go ahead and check out Gintama if you haven't already. If you have, go ahead and leave me a comment and just tell me, like, at the point where you're at in Gintama, if you're kind of up to date or farther than I am in it. I'm at episode 30. Tell me what you think of it, how it's progressing for you personally as a viewer, because I believe the most important thing in Gintama, other than the actual quality of the series, is getting it through your head that it's mainly centered on comedy, and the plot element is introduced a lot later in the series. So again, you have to get through a personal barrier to watch Gintama, I have to say. But once you do, as far as I've gotten at least, it's very, very enjoyable. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Valid Pounds here. It was a pleasure doing this review, and I am out. Marcellus, you want to say bye too?